Hi Seameals, really missing you, and here's a little video. It's going to be about making a bird feeder, but I just wanted to say a couple of things first. As lots of you know, Miss Ferris finished at Seameals at Easter, so that's really sad, but an exciting thing is that she's passed on Eco Schools to me, so I'm really looking forward to meeting up with Eco Council when we're back in school and doing some really fun green things. And I thought I would start my first video by doing something eco. So in lockdown I've been watching in the garden for all sorts of wildlife, and I've spotted squirrels and lots of insects and butterflies and also lots of birds. And at this time of year there is plenty of food around in the wild, but it's really great to feed our feathered friends as well. So I was looking online, and there is actually some really good advice about what you should feed birds and what you shouldn't. So good things are it needs to be reasonably fresh. So no mouldy food. It can be a bit stale, like stale bread, but not any mouldy food. They like cheese, they like potatoes, although they don't normally eat chips, honestly. They like apples and pears, they like bread, they like seeds, like bird seed, they like dried oats. They like dry breakfast cereal. Things you shouldn't give them, and this is really important. They don't like salted food. It's toxic for them, so it'll make them ill. So don't give them salted food like dry roasted peanuts or salted peanuts. Also, on the subject of peanuts, this time of year it's getting to a time when there's going to be chicks in the nests. So if you give them whole peanuts, those whole peanuts could actually choke the chick, which would be really sad. So if you're going to put out peanuts, make sure they're either crushed up or inside some kind of bird feeder, so when the birds will then peck away at them. Don't put out milk for birds, it's toxic for them, it would poison them. And also grated coconut, and I didn't know this one. If you feed them grated coconut, it can swell up inside of them and make them really ill, so don't give them that either. The last thing to say is, I'm going to show you how to make this feeder, and I'm going to be using lard. And that's an animal product, so some of you might not want to use an animal product and prefer to use cooking fat that is like maybe coconut oil, or you can use vegetable fat, but just a flag up that you shouldn't use cooking oil or margarine or vegetable oil, because it can smear on the bird's feathers and that can be quite difficult for them to fly then. So I would say use lard, or you can use suet. They're both animal products. If you want to use a vegetarian alternative, you can use coconut oil, that's just as good. Right, let's get on with it. So, we've got the things I've got my lard, and I've left out of the fridge for a little while so it's quite soft. I've got some chopped apple. I had some bread that wasn't mouldy, but it was a bit stale, so I've chopped up some of that. And I had some birdseed actually already, but instead of this you could just use some breakfast cereal or some other kinds of nuts that have been crushed up. Okay, I've also got a cup. You could use a yogurt carton, anything that is plastic and is kind of that shape. And I've got some string, and the tools I'm going to need are a pair of scissors to cut the string. Now this is a dowel, and this is just to make a hole in the cup, but anything sharp, and I would make sure you've got a parent with you helping you with this. This is to make a hole in the cup, and a spoon. So step one, I'm going to make my hole in the top of the cup. Easier said than done. I'm going to do it from the inside. And this hole needs to be big enough so I can poke my string through. So I'm going to be hanging this from the tree with food inside, that the bird can perch onto the edge and peck away at the food inside. Now I'm going to cut probably more than I think I need, because I can always make it shorter, but you can't make it longer. And before you try and pop it through your cup, make sure that you've got a knot on the end. I'm going to do a couple to make sure it's nice and big and won't pull through. Okay, once you've got your knot, take the other end and push this through down the inside. This is where I see whether my hole is big enough, and I think it just about is. And cut another end off. It's got a bit frayed. There we go. Okay, put it through like that, so. And now I'm going to mix together my different elements. So I'm going to use this bowl here. I'm going to empty out some of those breadcrumbs, because I'm just going to need a small amount. I'm going to make more than one, but there's the amount of breadcrumbs I need. I'm going to add in some of my apple. I'm going to add in a handful of my seeds. So I've got a nice mix. And then I'm going to take a good sticky lump of lard to stick it all together. Now this is quite sticky stuff, so you'll need to be ready to wash your hands afterwards, because it does stick, because it's quite oily. Okay, I'm going to take a big lump like that. Now you might want to get your fingers in there. I'm going to try and do it with my spoon. And I'm just mixing it all around. And because it's been warmed, it's warmed up for a little while, I've left it out of the fridge. It's pretty sticky. Now with that mix, I'm thinking, actually, it's looking pretty well stuck. I'm happy that I'm going to add a few more, little handful of seeds to that. A few more breadcrumbs. And we'll mix that all in. And this is going to be a delicious mix for our birds. Probably mostly the smaller birds. Things like blue tits. I'm going to really enjoy this as a tasty snack. And there's nothing here that would be more difficult for the smaller chicks to eat. So once you've got some spoons of that, just poke it into your cup, press it down the back of your spoon, like so. I'm going to do one last spoonful. If you just poke it down nice and tightly, and you're good to go. There's your bird feeder. Already, if you tie it on a tree outside, you might have, if you've got a garden, see if there's somewhere you can tie it up there. If you've got a balcony, if you're in a flat, you could probably tie it outside your windows. Or if you've got a neighbour that would love a bird feeder, you might want to give it to them instead. Okay, good luck and let me know how you get on. Now I've got two more things. I would really love to know what wildlife you're spotting in your gardens, if you're taking a daily walk with your families. Anything that you spot, it could be a bird, it could be a squirrel, it could be an insect, a butterfly. Some people might even spot a fox. So I've set up a Padlet for you to add on anything that you spot. It's on our home learning tab on the web page. So if you go to the Home Learning for All, open that, and the top link, click on that, and you can just type in any animals that you've spotted. I would love to hear. One last thing. Next time, the next video I put on, I'm going to be using this. Now, my children were lucky enough to get given this by their cousin at Christmas. It's like a special sports camera, and if you set it up, it detects movement. Now I'm going to set it up in my garden tonight, and then during the night it will switch on and record anything that goes past. Now I know that there's foxes and badgers in this area, so if we're really lucky, I'm hoping we can capture them on film. And the next step is I've got a strong suspicion that there's a fox living under the pond in school, so I'm going to try and film him too and share that with you next time. Great. Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing you as soon as possible. Hope you're keeping well. Love to all your families. See you soon.